Thank you, and thank you also to the chair for moving the meeting. I think it was really important and great to be able to be in a room that everybody could see and hear. And I appreciate and applaud the passion of all of the advocates. I know sitting through these hearings are lengthy, and it's not easy to get up here and find parking. And I think, I really appreciate, and I took everyone's words to heart and, understood what everyone was saying. I think that when I was reviewing the resumes in front of us and as I was listening to the testimony, it struck me that I'm glad that we have a bill in front of us tomorrow to discuss kind of the broader concern about the appointment and the makeup of the committee. And I also understand that when there is a statute on the books and there's case law that then came down afterwards, that definitely creates confusion and an issue around those appointments. And so I think that issue sounds like it's going to continue, but I'm personally convinced that I think that we're well within our rights to be making these appointments under the combination of the statute that exists and based upon the case law and amongst the past practices that CRMC and the Senate and the Senate committee has engaged upon with previous appointments. And I do think not only do we need to reconsider and review the board makeup as a whole, which I think will be part of the discussion tomorrow to bring in many of the salient points and issues that were raised today. But I also think we need to review and consider the parameters with which board members, CRMC members, are able to make their decisions. And I think to me that seems to be, Senator Miller highlighted some of those issues that he's been trying to address through legislation, and I know other senators have tried to address through legislation. And the unfortunate reality is when you're placed on a committee and you have to make decisions, based on the rules and the laws that exist and the regulations that exist to guide and direct those decisions. And, in the same way that we would want, I personally would like to see some environmental justice parameters be part of that decision-making process. I don't believe that's currently in the purview of the CRMC decision-making process. So I don't want to go too far out of my lane and speak to a process that I'm not all too familiar with, but it's definitely something that I would love to be able to revisit and review that legislation. And I would hope that CRMC would look at the regulations based on the many concerns that have been raised. I know that many people who are here today are really concerned about the LNG project. And at the same time, CRMC's direction is much larger. We have major investments in the state in offshore wind projects, and we have been a leader in the country on these offshore wind projects. And one of the things that we need to do to move away from fossil fuels is we need to make investments and we need to move forward on renewable energy projects. That's something that I'm very committed to doing. I've been working on that. I have numerous pieces of legislation to try to help move the state in that direction. And I think that I see in the reappointments not only some of the things that Senator Conley listed, but there's somebody who's been serving on the beach SAMP. There's somebody who's been serving on some of these projects, and if we're going to continue to move the ball forward, a thing about the reappointments is institutional knowledge and understanding about some of these important projects that are in progress and moving forward. And while I consider myself an ally of renewable energy and would love to see our economy move in that direction because I think that's the way forward in the future, the reality is that we do have a port. And I think that the way that these bodies work best is by having multiple views at the table. And so I know that the background and experience of shipping was disparaged by some of the members. The reality is that much of our waterfront also includes the port. So I do see that as, while it may not be a perspective that many in the room agree with, it is a perspective that does bring value and bring knowledge to the table for the CRMC decision-making. So I wanted to weigh in on a number of those factors to add to the discussion.
Thank you, Senator Oya. Very, very helpful, I think.